Now that the faceplate has been fixed up and is looking beautiful, it is time to turn our attention to the main receiver right here and give it a nice blow job. So I've got the compressor all ready to go. I've got it set to 60 psi, so that should put about 50 psi out at the nozzle. I think that should be enough. So the way I've got this set up is, on one side of the house I've got a fan blowing air in, and then the window right here, as you can see, I've got that sucker open. So we've got a nice breeze coming through here, and that'll blow, or I should say suck, a large majority of the dust that's going to come off of this thing out the window. Now I don't expect this thing to look factory clean, but it's going to look a whole hell of a lot better once we're done with this. So let's open that a little bit more and let's see how this works. Okay, I think I'm going to have to kick up the pressure a little bit. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do too is I'm going to try to loosen some of this dust up with this paintbrush and blow that out. I may have to switch to my big compressor for this. I don't know, we'll see here. But let's try this and see what happens. Well, the little jobber did pretty good, but I've decided to dig out the big boy for this. There's still some dust in here I'd like to get out, so I hate this hose, but it was quicker than digging out the big black one. Yeah, it did the trick pretty nicely. Get that board cleaned up really nicely down in there. Sure is a far sight better than it was before, that's for sure. I'm going to clean the top of that transformer with a rag, but I'm happy with this. Alright, we'll just use a little bit of glass cleaner here on a rag. And we'll give this a nice cleaning up here. You don't have to do this, but you know, just clean it up a little bit. Wipe those capacitor cans a little bit there. There we go. You can actually read the lettering on the side of those now. And let's see here, let's go give the top edge a little bit of a cleaning as well up here. Just clean the top of that heat sink there just for the heck of it. There. I think this is cleaned up very nicely. Yeah, that's looking a lot better already. Now that a majority of the dust has been cleared, you can see there is some evidence of something back in here. Around here, it might have gotten spilled on down in here at one time. Obviously, as you saw in the last video, this thing works perfectly fine, so obviously that's not causing a problem, but I think I'm going to try to clean that up, and I do have a way to clean this up. Extra long Q-tips to get down in there. So we'll just spray a little bit of glass cleaner. Now this Invisiglass stuff has alcohol in it, so it'll I know I'm zoomed in here, but this stuff has alcohol in it, so it'll dry very quickly. And we'll just clean some of that up down in there. Of course, you could, if you really wanted to, you could do this to the whole board. Just clean up. It's not really that bad. It's just a little bit of, it might not even really be spill damage. It might just be a little bit of extra dirt buildup that I couldn't get cleaned up, that the bristles of the brush missed. But that's okay. You can see where I'm cleaning it along here, how much dirt there still is on that board, even after all that. It's just that little itty bitty amount that you just can't ever get off. And now I'm being really nitpicky here, because it's like, oh. You trust me, you do not have to do this, but ew, isn't that nice? These are great for cassette decks as well. Get down in there and clean that head up. I'm not going to go too crazy here. Just, I think that's good enough. The residue or whatever it was is now gone for the most part. Peel off that dirty, nasty part there. Respray this. I see a little bit right in here, and that could be glue residue as well. But no, that looks like it's coming off. And like I said, this stuff dries right away, so it's really good stuff. You don't really have to do this type of cleaning, but dirt attracts moisture, and moisture causes corrosion, not to mention potential shorts. So it doesn't hurt to do this. Alright, so the next step is to go ahead and shoot the variable capacitor, or also known as the tuner, with some contact cleaner. I'm just going to use this. So let me back up here because whoa, wrong way to go. Use this max contact cleaner on the fins, and this doesn't have any residue or anything like that, so it's perfect for tuners. And just get that in there. And this stuff is perfectly safe to spray on here even while it's working. While it's powered on, this stuff is not conductive in any way. So we're perfectly fine if this was on, which we're not. So I'm going to turn this tuner a little bit here, spray it some more, turn it a little bit more. Now the reason I'm using this instead of the deoxit is because the deoxit does have a little bit of lubricant to it, and everything I've ever read, anything that has any kind of lubricant to it's bad for tuners. So this is just a straight contact cleaner. It's dry, there's no lubricant in it, and so this is perfect for these variable capacitors. Thankfully, all these potentiometers on this receiver are open, so I can get contact cleaner down into there without any kind of problem whatsoever, except for the fact of getting the tube down in there. But should be fairly straightforward to do that, to clean these anyway. That's the band selector down in there, and that's completely open as well, so that'll be cake to get that sucker clean. And the switches, should be able to tackle those through the front. Should be able to shoot some contact cleaner into the hole right there, and that should be enough. They're not really all that. There's really nothing wrong with any of these switches except for the FM, the mono stereo switch. I noticed that sometimes I have to fiddle with this a little bit to get it to kick into mono. So that's really the only one that needs attention. The rest of them work fine, but they're all going to get a shot of deoxit, and I'm using this deoxit fader lube. I get this stuff off eBay. It's pretty cheap that way. Alright, so let's do it to it here, shall we? Don't need a lot, which is good because this stuff isn't terribly cheap. I have to put the knob back on that one. This dang tripod's in the way. I can get to the front of it there. And of course this does have lubricant in it, which is why it's called Fader Lube. Cleans and lubricates. Of course the other stuff says that too, but the red can stuff. And it's amazing how just a quick shot of that stuff really loosens up those controls, even though they weren't tight before. But alright, let's see, this is going to be interesting. See if we can get a little bit on the shaft there where just a little bit of it's dripping out. Down here in the speaker switch. It's always fun. Alright. This one's going to be tricky, so we'll save him for last. Don't really need a knob for these, but you know. Alright, let's do the speaker switch. Alright, let's see if we can get to that middle one there. That's way in there too. I wish these things had a longer tube. It would make life a lot easier, and I need my flashlight for this one. Let's just find out how we're gonna get to him. I'm just gonna have to flood him and hope for the best. And drizzle what's left in that tube on the shaft there. Alright, let's get some stuff in these switches. And we'll do the bottom too. And as I said before, this stuff is not conductive, so yeah, it's going to run everywhere, but it's not going to be a problem. I don't think, I'm just kind of looking at that FM muting switch over here, I don't think I'm going to be able to get anything into him either. And yeah, I might be able to get some in the shaft there. Alright, let's see here if we can get lucky with this guy. I'm sure anything is better than nothing. Just work it in there. Oh, you know what? The shaft is coming out the back. So, and there is fluid on it, so that means it is working its way into there. All right. volume control is definitely the one problem I noticed when I was testing this receiver, was that sometimes when I turned the receiver on, there would be no audio coming out of the speakers until I got this volume control up a certain amount. So I'm hoping that particular problem is just in the switch, or the potentiometer, although I never noticed any scratchiness in it. But we're going to give that just a little bit of an extra attention here. Oh, there's one more slot up there I'm going to get into. Yeah, sometimes you can only flood it and hope for the best, unfortunately. So, when I got the controls to where I think they're cleaned, I think it'll be time for a, well, probably another test before I put the faceplate on. Just to make sure that my cleaning has actually fixed the controls. Alright. Now let's get it plugged in and we'll do another test on the receiver here. Make sure it still works after all this too. Alright, I still have that problem with the volume control. Once it straightens out, once the speakers come in, it works fine. It's a small town, girl. Everything is right, and we rule the world. 212s and that might need some more attention with the deoxit there.
Closer to the front lines to help the rifle troops retake.
I guess this was a loudness switch. Without having the front panel, this is the FM muting switch. Yeah, and that works perfectly fine now. Change that station before YouTube's copyright mafia comes after me. Yeah, that works flawlessly. Away from LA back to Knoxville.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. Hulu, with its own standalone video streaming service, just weeks before Netflix raises prices for long.
Some of these radio stations really broadcast with a gritty sound. It's not this receiver, it's just the way radio stations are around here. Alright, well, I'm going to play with the volume switch a little, or the volume potentiometer a little bit more here. See if I can't clear that problem up, because it seems to happen when the receiver is cold and has been off for a while. That happens, and then once it, once you get it past that certain point, it works just fine there on out, especially when it's warm. So I'm kind of wondering if that has anything to do with the speaker relay. This contacts on that speaker relay might be dirty or worn out. It might be worth popping the cover off of that relay right here, shooting that with some deoxit, and seeing if maybe that clears up the problem. I don't know, that might take some investigating if I can't fix it with a simple cleaning of the potentiometer and possibly of that relay as well. But yeah, so more testing has to be done apparently. That's what my point is, I guess. Here, that's where we're at. I think we'll leave it here for this video, and I hope you guys are enjoying this video series. It's amazing how clean that tuner looks now. Remember what it looked like before? Man, that thing looks brand new now.